Hi, my name is Tatiana Jordan, and here is my interview presentation. For this presentation, I decided to interview a close friend of mine that I have known for 10 plus years. We're both born and raised in Chicago. This individual is an African American woman, 28 years of age. She's an entrepreneur, a model, a business owner, and a photographer. She identified herself as Christian, who believes in Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit. The book she used to guide her life is the Bible. She believes there is a heaven and a hell. For this interview, I decided to use the 3 required questions, which states asking the individual how they would describe themselves in terms of their religion, beliefs, spiritual path, and faith. Inquire how they came to this place in their journey. Ask them what social workers should know about this group from their perspective. I also used the 5 questions that I created during my proposal, which states, do your religion traditions or spiritual practices come from things taught to you by your caregiver or from your own experiences of things you wanted to explore or learn about? Can you please provide examples? Do you feel that your religion, tradition, or spiritual practices are more important than one another? Why do you feel this way? When learning to practice spirituality or religion, what do you believe to be the most important factors during the beginning stage? What are things you wish to change about your spiritual journey or religion practices? Why do you think spiritual practices or religion should be used in occupation that involves helping people, like social workers, doctors, teachers, etc.? I also used the 7 questions from the Frame textbook, which I did not write in the presentation, but I will talk about some of them. I used a total of 15 questions to conduct my interview. In the next slash, I would take 5 of the 15 questions just to highlight the answers from my interview. The first question comes from the required questions, which states, inquire how they came to this place in their journey. She said that she did not grow up in the church, or her household did not believe in God, or they was not devoted Christians. She had always heard about God, but really never honestly cared to know who he was. She discovered God when she was going through a really, really tough time in her life. I believe this time was during her college years, which was in the year of 2012 and 2016. She had a close cousin who she remembered changed her life from her own experience when she devoted her life to God. She decided to just reach out to this cousin just to get to ask more questions regarding God and different things like that. So once she talked to this cousin, she kind of like just decided to learn about God on her own and to create her own religion path. She stated during this journey she found peace, forgiveness, fulfillment when she went to God and gave her life to him. Also, is not in the presentation, but she recently got baptized, I think it was 2 years ago. The next question that I asked, when learning to practice spirituality or religion, what do you believe to be the most critical factors during the beginning process? She believes that during the beginning process, the most important factors are understanding the principles of that particular spirituality or religion. For example, some of the practices of Christianity are love, forgiveness, and humbleness. She says it's like if you don't understand the foundation, it would be hard to grasp the practice. The next question that I asked came from the Frame textbook, which states, what do you think is your next step in your religion or spiritual journey? What is getting in the way of you taking your next step? She stated she believes her next step in her spiritual journey is pursuing her God-given mission. One thing that may be getting in the way is a lack of clarity or focus. She also understands that it may not be meant for her to know everything about her mission now, and that it is a faith walk with God. She believes he will reveal pieces of her purposes when the time comes. So during this process in her life, this individual, in the beginning of this year, when she decided to continue her faith, she decided to quit her job that was paying her $80K a year just to follow her passion. She described this as she didn't feel like the job that she was doing was bringing any purpose in her life, or it was not something that she was passionate about. So she decided to quit her job to pursue her career as an entrepreneur, a model, and a photographer. In this time in her life, she stated that she didn't really know what was going to be next. She owns a house here in Maryland, and she didn't really know what or how she was going to be able to continue to provide for herself as she went on this journey. She states she just believed in God, and as she was talking to him before she decided to quit her job, like she would just have these conversations, and like she would just continue to pray about it, and she just felt like on her spiritual walk that this was the next step in her life. The next question also comes from the Frame textbook, which states, how much have you allowed yourself to question your faith? She states she does not believe she questioned her faith, but more so questioned her commitment to her faith. In her experiences, when she questioned other people's faiths or beliefs, they tend to get defensive or protective of their beliefs. She believes the principal place of doubt for any religious system is if their God genuinely exists. In her particular faith, she believes deep down the people within Christianity doubt if heaven and hell is real. The next question states, what are things you wish to change about your spiritual journey or religion practices? Which this is a question from my proposal. In Christianity as a whole, she says she would love to change the underlying culture of being so judgmental. It's also ironic that one of the principles of Christianity is not to judge others, but for some reason being judgmental is very, very known in the Christianity religion, as she states. In the next slide, I will talk about the scholarly material that I used. The 5 I used: The Man Searching for Meaning, Spiritual Diversity in Social Work Practices, The Spiritual-Based Intervention, Religion and Spiritual into Counseling, Mind, Body, Emotional, and Spirit Reaching to the Ancestors for Healing. All 5 of these scholarly come from the different reading material that we had during the semester. I didn't really, I decided not to use any outside sources because I felt that these 5 was very, very good material, and I feel like they can relate to my interview. The next slide will talk about, does the scholarly material support or do not support what the interviewee reported? So I believe the scholarly material do not support what was presented to me in my interview. I believe this because I believe this individual was still in the beginning stage of her religion. Although she stated she do not question her faith, I do believe she is still unclear of what or how Christianity in her life, what like role does it play for her. I believe she is still searching and still trying to figure out exactly what Christianity looks like for her, how to practice it, the beliefs, and those different things. As like the book talked about the different ways how spirituality or religion plays a part in like grief, marriage, trauma, and those different things. I don't believe the individual kind of like when it comes to grief or like marriage or even trauma, I don't believe she uses her religion as a way to cope or to help guide her. And I'm speaking from personal experience because I know this individual well. I feel like she's still in the stage of like, she grew up in a household where like God really wasn't talked about, or like the different practices or beliefs was practiced in the household. It was just more of kind of what the parents, told her what was right and what was wrong. Another another example would be from like one of the case studies that we had in the book regarding the two individuals who had different um, cultural beliefs, and they was deciding that they wanted to get married, but they had two different cultures and two different religions. I believe this relates to the individual that I interviewed because her partner also did not believe in God. And although like on her journey of getting to know God and believing in God, dedicating her life to God, even getting baptized, which I believe was like 2 years ago, she did not allow her own personal religion or belief affect being with an individual who did not have the same beliefs or practices as her. And I do believe that decision came about because she did not grow up knowing about this or practicing this belief. This is something that became new to her about 8 something years ago. So I feel like she did not allow that to affect her relationship with the individual that she'd been with for over 6 years. The next slide will talk about how do I integrate this information into my own professional growth and practices. I believe I can integrate this information in my own professional growth by adopting the 5 principles for spirituality and social work, which talk about clarity, respect, client centeredness, inclusive, and creativity. I feel those 5 principles can help guide me within my day-to-day work, as right now I am a case manager and I deal with different types of clients on a daily. I believe those principles can help me remain from being judgmental, using my own personal experience to help guide the client. I think those principles just help me just focus on the client, focus on the need of the client, allow the client to kind of guide and center, the type of work that we will be doing together. Also, this class was something new to me. I really didn't know how you can incorporate like religion or spirituality into social work. So I believe that this opened my eyes up professionally. Not only did it question my own beliefs and my own spirituality, I believe that it just helped me kind of be more clear of what kind of spirituality path that I kind of want and what that may look like in my future dealing with social work. The next slide will talk about what can be done on a micro level, or micro or macro. The next slide will talk about what can be done at a micro and macro level. I believe this is something that's similar to trauma-informed care. Before in the social work world, trauma-informed care was not something that most agencies or organizations practice. But now in any kind of settings that deal with helping individual, trauma-informed care is one of the top models that most organizations use and adopt. So I feel like this is the same thing. If this is a practice that individuals feel that is important into the work that we do, it'll just be something that organizations will just start to adapt to, start to use, and start to practice. To be honest, I'm not really familiar in this area. Like I said, this is something new to me. So still trying to learn how spirituality will work with me being a future social worker is something that I feel like I would need to take more courses regarding this. Like this one course was great, but I do feel like this is something new to me. So in order for me to completely understand it, like I need to be in more classes that's similar to this. Lastly, this is my reference page. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation. This was a little difficult for me. I do not enjoy speaking in front of people. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a nice day. Bye.